Hickson tomorrow for our last time of the year. Because my schedule is going to really get wild about the 18th of the month, which, by the way, is next Tuesday. I'll be in and out, but I can't make another run after that. So we're going to do one really, really quick because we just did one. What was the last week?
On a big Tuesday.
On a big Tuesday. So anyway, that's tomorrow. We'll be in Hickson Autoplex, Alexandria Hickson Autoplex. Looking forward to it. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. I'm loaded up today with just all kind of stuff with the state. But before I get to all that, and, we have a governor's race and they're already poo-pooing it. I'm just laughing at people. Jim Beam to the rescue. Lanny Keller to the rescue. All already slapping at, Ralph Abraham. They're scared to death of him. And Risponi too, maybe, but Risponi's gotten in but never said anything. So, we have no idea. So it's interesting that the governor's slapping at somebody that, no, God, he's going to walk right in. I get a kick out of watching this. And I get a kick out of saying that, here's no name recognition. Folks, this is the day of social media and talk radio. It don't take long. This is not 40 years ago. This is not 40 years ago when you ran from, North Louisiana, you couldn't win, although Romer won. Golly, Brandon, I can't remember when, I think, didn't Romer win? What was it, 90? I don't remember all the dates on that. But, I mean, you're talking about 30 years ago. And things have changed. And he didn't really win. Edwards quit. We got an election, and Edwards and them know it, and I'll stick to my guns. One-termer. We just had an election. By the way, congratulations to Kyle Onway. He's the Secretary of State. Now, I want to bring that up. Brandon, I didn't look at the last numbers. I think he was ahead 63-37 or something like that. You can pull it up and find out exactly what the number was, but it was big. Voter turnout statewide was about 17%. I'm just looking at some raw numbers, okay? But the same people are going to vote next year. And it's hard for me to believe that people are going to go Republican Secretary of State, Republican Lieutenant Governor, Republican Treasurer, and all these Republicans, Republican, what's the one that Mike Strain's ahead of, Agriculture, and but I'm going to vote for the Democrat governor. I'm telling you, that bothers them. They know it. And then you got a liberal, massive liberal governor. I'm not saying he's not a nice guy, but boy, he's a liberal. They'll lie in a second. But anyway, there was a rear end kicking. An election that, I think I saw it said 17% turnout. And congratulations to Kyle. They had some good Republicans in that race too. And so we'll get to all that as the program unfolds. I really wanted to start with this. You read the headlines and Michael Collins did this and Trump's in trouble and Trump's going to be impeached and Trump's going to jail. Well, for 2 years I've watched this, really for 3. And rather, Donald Trump was never an angel. I know that. I was never an original Trumpster. But I like what he does as the president. And they're not doing anything against him as president. This is all the bunk and the BS because of the hate for the man from the deep state and from the press and from the left and the Republican left too. So they do an investigation. They turn it over to this Mueller fella who's best friends with Comey. And they give him unlimited resources, unlimited lawyers. And what this is going to really get down to is, what did Trump do before he became the president of the United States? There was no collusion with Russians. None of that stuff's happening. But they want to make the people feel that voted for him. When they start peeling off, that's when you're going to have the problem. And I've never seen the media beat on somebody every day, 24/7, no matter what. Now we got an investigation that can go out anywhere in the world, spend as much money as they want to. And did you really think they're not going to come up with something with Trump that Trump did wrong? Or Trump was involved? I don't know if he did anything wrong. I don't know if paying somebody to shut up because you had an affair with him is illegal. Maybe in some states, and maybe that's where they'll go to. But it's not amazing. I've never seen anything like this. I'm 57 years old. I've been voting since I was 18. And I've never in my life seen the media do what they do, and to allow a special prosecutor, when you had Republicans leading the Senate, Republicans leading the House, a special prosecutor to do an investigation that's unlimited any amount of money they want to spend and can go after anything they want to go after. Now, let me ask this question. If you did that with Barack Obama and go back on everything and anything and the people he was associated with and given hundreds of millions of billions of dollars to Iran and looking the other way and lying about everything, that guy, they would do investigation on Obama for 2 years like that. There's no telling what we would find out about the great Barack Obama. Obama was governor in 1988, so Brandon, what is that, 30 years? I'll get to that in a second deal. So, my question is, what if they did an investigation like this? Open, go any direction you want on the Clintons. They would take 1,000 lawyers to figure out what the Clintons had done. Folks, they would come back with anything they want to come back. And they found lawyers that hated Barack Obama and that hated him with a passion. And then they hired people that ran against Obama and hated him and said, go get him. And it doesn't matter. We'll start with collusion on a false dossier put out by the Clintons. And the deep state sits there and they let the press churn it out, churn it out, churn it out, churn it out. What do you think would happen? What would happen to you? What would happen to me? Well, if you didn't, I love this. Well, if you didn't do anything wrong, look, I don't know what Trump did before. What did he do wrong since he's been president is what I want to know. Let's move forward with the country. But they're not. The first 2 years was to beat him up. They won back the House. Now they can do what they really want to do, was to try to destroy him, the Republican Party in a gist, so they can take control, so we can have pure communism and socialism, because that's where they headed at. They headed at France. That's where we headed at. Taxing our way to prosperity, giving people everything they need and want until you run out of money. It's like they've done in France and Europe and all these other places. And that's what frustrates me. Barack Obama, president for 8 years, they never touched him. No matter what he did, no matter what he said, he can lie about health care, he can lie about Benghazi, he can lie about everything. Didn't matter. And then all of a sudden, here comes somebody we voted in, because we're sick of Republicans and Democrats, to be honest with you, and it's nonstop now. So now we have 2 years of building the case with a guy that you know is in the deep state, part of the deep state, and now they can go after Trump on anything and everything. And I've got emails all weekend from real fools. They bought the Obama Kool-Aid and the press is Kool-Aid on all this stuff about Donald Trump. And I want to know, what has he done wrong when he was elected president and put in office? There's no way to collude with Russia. Even the great Barack insane Obama said there's no way to steal an election. Of course, he's not out there defending Trump now. I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the people that we're going to have to listen to are people who are known liars now. So when the Mueller investigation proved they're liars. I mean, they lie about everything. But now, because they said something about Trump, and what they did was they were bought. They were told, if you say this, you want to go to prison, you want to go to prison long, and they said, that's fine with me. I'll say anything you want me to say the way you want me to say it, I'll sign anything and confess that this is the way it is, just let me out of prison. And we're supposed to sit here and go, okay, well, then I guess Trump is guilty. He's not been guilty of anything but helping the American people since he got in office. And they don't want that. They want a president and a government who brings people down. For God's sakes, most of them believe in killing babies is okay. What do you think? Ruining somebody's life? That's easy, man. Killing a baby's easy to them. That's what blows my mind. We live in a country where you have freedom of the press, but they've taken it way too far. They've taken it way out of bounds. It's not freedom of the press anymore. It's freedom to cover things like we see it and like we want it to be. That's what freedom of the press means in the day. I'm talking about national stuff now. I'm not getting local and things of that nature as much. But I mean, nationally, it's freedom. Well, we got freedom of the press. We can write whatever we want to. Sure, whether it's wrong or right. You know, I take the fake news and the fake news. And by the way, Trump has pounded the news media back, and we like that. I love when he hits them. I like when he punches them back in the face, and they never had that happen to them. So what do? They get meaner and meaner. They don't care about telling the American people the truth. They don't care about the truth of how all this got started on a hoax that Russia cheated and colluded with. They couldn't. We got 50 different states, 50 ways, different ways we do elections. They didn't change one vote. If they didn't change a vote, there's no collusion. But yet, it's not what the press runs with. I've never seen so much hate in all my life. I really haven't. And you got people on the Democrat and Republican side love hate. Love hate. And I can't imagine what this country is going to go through one day because of the crap that we listen to. When I see people out there telling us that we control the weather and the warming trends that are happening in this country, that is not as sick as abortion, but it's in the same ball game. And they're trying to convince people they're right. And yet these are the same people shoving us down our throat because they know in the press, say it over, people will believe it. And that's all we're watching right now. It's disgusting to see what they're trying to do. And as soon as people get off of Trump goes down, we put a new Democrat. There's no telling what kind of you think Obama was bad? Wait for the next one. Wait for the next one. And Obama was the worst ever. Smile about it. Think he's some really great guy. Why he knifed the Constitution in this country to death. But we're worried about Trump. We'll take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline. By the way, I forgot to mention real quick because, I was gone on Friday to go watch actually a couple games, STM and UHI, which was unbelievable. And then my former team, Sterlington, played Eunice, which was another really good game. And I did want to thank people. Maddie had the time of her life. I did get a chance to be on the field with her. She got to cheer with STM, and I'm grateful to STM. I'm grateful to the Louisiana High School Athletic Association, even though I've had my bits and pieces with them, because they allowed me to get a pass on the field. I was able to stay by Maddie. She has to have somebody down there just because seizures and stuff. So I actually got to stay on the field for a lot of it. Went upstairs in the Sterlington game, and Eunice won, and I've already got Coach Joe Bear from the Eunice Bobcats. I think I'm saying that right. He beat my Panthers, yes, and I think he wants to gloat a little bit. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm living a dream. It's fantastic. All I want to ask you is, how about those Bobcats? How about those Bobcats?
Well, I got to tell you, I told my friends in Sterlington, because I saw a lot of good friends Friday evening after our game. We got beat by UHI. And then, of course, that game came, and I told them, I said, I think we're going to get this one. I think we'll win it. But, actually, I got to watch some of the game. When I got home, I caught probably the last 5 or 6 minutes on TV back at home, and it was a great win. Congratulations. I know they're excited about it, and y'all should be. I mean, anytime you win a state championship, it's a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. We just, a lot of teams thought they were going to get us this year, Moon, and, so it wasn't just you.
By the way, though, listening to the announcers, and I'm taking they got a lot of knowledge of high school football. They talked about how AAA probably is the most competitive of all of them, where you have 7, 8 teams who can actually win it every year. Some of these divisions, you got 1 to 2 that can win it every year, but in that division, especially in the district y'all in, Sterlington now, AAA, Richwood, they got some Union Parish. They've got some good AAA teams out there.
Some very good AAA teams just in our district. Eunice, Iota, Church Point, Crowley made a little run. Very tough district. Very tough district.
So that's what they were saying.
We're proud of these boys.
Yeah, well, it was good. Look, Sterlington won it a couple years ago for the first time ever, and they had to beat Madison Prep, which, to be honest with you, nobody thought they could except them, and they upset them. And in this case, I don't remember how the rankings. Where were y'all ranked? 6?
We were ranked number 2.
Okay.
Iota was number 1, and we were number 2. And Sterlington was number 4, and Kaplan was number 3. Another good team, Kaplan, very physical team. It's a tough district, and we're awful proud of the boys. all year long we seem to be a little bit undersized and a little bit slow. But then don't tell the Bobcats that, because those boys just strapped it on and
that's
we're awful proud of them.
Yeah, that's the same thing I told you, not to go back to 2 years when Sterlington won. They played Madison Prep, and they said they had 15 D1s, but they hadn't played but like a half a game. I got football, and they got beat. And no, you don't. It's funny about football and momentum. And kids standing up when it counts and not worrying about who they're playing. I thought STM was going to beat U High. We had our chances, and everybody told them how great they were, all these D1 kids, and they kind of almost pulled it off. In your case, you did pull it off, and y'all should be proud of that. It's a lot of fun for those guys to win. I'm sure the community.
The community! It's incredible how the community pulled behind. They just came together and just an outpouring of love for us and financial support, and just it's such a great feeling living in Eunice right now with the kind of folks we with right here. Hey, how special was it for you to be on the sideline with your daughter?
No, it was great. I was going to tell people, I meant to talk about it a little bit earlier. It was awesome because I got to go down. I didn't have to worry about a whole lot. I was always in seeing distance of her, and I was able to visit with a lot of STM guys. I met several people from the Louisiana High School Athletic Association, people that knew who I were, came down and talked on the field. I stood up when I walked on the field. It was about 3:15, 3:20, something like that. And when I walked off the field, I stood up the whole time. I really had a good time. Maddie had a blast. I couldn't be so thankful for St. Thomas More and Options program. She's a senior this year. She got to cheer, something she really wanted to do, and they made it happen. And for me, it's always, it's just a phenomenal feeling. It was a lot of fun for her, and I asked her. She was so excited. She usually gets tired. There was nothing tired about her. She was pumped up the whole time, and those cheerleaders all help her, and the people that run the cheerleaders for STM, they all helped her, and I didn't really have to do a whole lot. I had to give her some medicine one time, but my wife was hollering at me from the back stand, so I was able to go do that. Well, listen, Coach, best of luck. I hope y'all have a big parade, man. It's a big win, but I hated you beat my Panthers, though. I will tell you that.
Well, it's unfortunate somebody has to lose, but boy, we're awful happy we won.
Well, somebody's going to lose. You can't have but one winner.
Yeah.
If we ever go to more than one winner, if we ever go to two winners at the same time, I'm not watching it anymore.
We'll be a socialist country.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Coach Joe Bad, thank you very much. And by the way,
congratulations, Coach.
Thank you, Moon. God
bless on your head coach, too, because I know he fought some personal stuff that he came back from, and that was a big story, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Them boys fought hard for Coach Trosclair, and he's awful. He's probably the most deserving coach out there.
Yeah, he wouldn't say anything, but it's just a blessing. We got to go. Thank you. Be right back. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. A little football fun there, folks. Just got a call from the coach from Eunice, and they did beat my Panthers, and he was letting me know. Sterlington is where we were at before we moved to Lafayette and became a Cougar. So anyway, it was back-to-back games. It was good for us. We got to see people we hadn't seen in 4 years of leaving the Sterlington Monroe area. So it was a blessing for all of them. Maddie had a great time. Like I said, I thank the Louisiana High School Athletic Association for letting me have a pass. She had to have a pass. I had to have a pass. Somebody had to be close enough to, seizure or something like that. Thank STM. I can't be, what else can I say about STM and what they've done with Maddie and the options program? I can keep adding stuff to it, I guess, but y'all all know about it. And so we were able to do that, and that was a blessing as well. So, plus I got, first time I ever been to the Louisiana High School Athletic Association's, big weekend on the football deal, and I got to stand on the field. So anyway, it was all good for me. And by the way, Brandon, the people that were texting me, what are you doing on the field? You must know somebody. You know what I told them? They did. I knew Maddie.
Yep.
I had no connections to get on the field. None. Zeros. I wouldn't even know who to call. But everybody was, I had one, my buddy Bailey Shevers called me, boy, it must be nice to know somebody. I said, yep, I know Maddie. That's how I got on the field. So, anyway, it was a blessing. I had a lot of fun. All right. 844-766-6607. Hickson has a hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. Yes, just look for the onslaught on Trump to continue. Republicans set back in the House instead of going after the dossier, going after everything they could have gone after. They let it go too far, and now they're not going to have the power they had, at least in the House. The Senate ought to take over, literally going after the Obama administration, the Justice Department. If people knew what Obama did with the Justice Department and the IRS, just those two, what they did to people, to American citizens, everybody would be outraged. But we'll never know because the media don't care about covering stuff like that. Just like they didn't want to cover Benghazi. They didn't want to cover anything dealing with Barack Obama. They didn't want to cover the lies on the health care law, which we got all this Medicaid expansion, which I think is costing us, and our people in the press keep bragging that's a big win for Bill Edwards. Well, it's buying votes. We got a lot of fraud going on. We already saw that. And yet, they keep pushing Bill Edwards and Medicaid and all this Obamacare, which was an outright lie. My policies went up, I don't know, what, 400%, 700%, whatever it is. And that's what happened with most people. But they're going to keep telling us this is all good for us. We're watching France implode over socialism and climate change and all this stuff that they want to do to us, not for us, which is a hoax, on a total hoax. Did you see what the let me see if I can find this real quick, folks. Miss Cortez, she backs all this green policy. She says she said, quote, Alexandria Cortez promises that going green, removing all fossil fuels from energy mix, will establish economic, social, and racial justice in the United States. Economic justice, social justice, and racial justice. That's all we got to do is believe in man-made global warming. That's it. That's all we have to do. And she didn't even understand. She doesn't have a clue and don't want to have a clue. It's not high-income elites who are taking the streets and breaking stores and windows and burning cars. It's the middle-class, blue-collar people who think that the president has no sympathy for what's going on. And it's that what they want to do, they will drive the cost of energy so high, which is drive the cost of everything else so high. For what? For what? Well, we got to save the planet, Griffon. They can't save the planet. They don't even know what they're talking about. The dumbest thing I've ever heard was man-made global warming. The dumbest thing to try to prove is to tell me that we're going to affect hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding, landslides. How do you figure that? Where's the proof in all that? We've been having that stuff since time began. It's not worse. You just got more people living on the coast. I just don't understand why people buy this and believe it, but you got people that believe it every day. Because there are people making money on it, folks. That's all. You got lots of people making money on man-made global warming and climate change. A bunch of them. And they know to shut America down, to bring us down so we can be some little low-life third world country. We have to buy into it. You have to buy into it. And we got people buying into it, unfortunately. So that's what bothers me. I'll go back to when I started my monologue. What bothers me about what the media is doing and what they're trying to do to Trump, and what they really want to do is usher in one of these Cortez-type people, Bernie Sanders-like people who will bring us to our knees. Once they do that, folks, how do you get back up? It will bring us to our knees. Obama was rushed in as president. The dude ain't had a clue because they beat up on Bush so bad. So Bush gave us Obama, but Obama gave us Trump. And the Republicans gave us Trump. And the Democrats and Republicans gave us Donald Trump because we wanted something different. We wanted somebody to really do something. We have somebody that's doing something, and they're trying to take him down for something that has nothing to do with his job as president. It's all politics. This whole thing with Trump is politics and hate. Politics and hate. It's nothing to do with making us a better country. It's not going to make us a better country. I don't care what you think about his tweets or anything else. If he wasn't defending himself, who would? Who would? Let's go to Paul in Lake Charles. Paul, how you doing?
Hey, good morning, Moon.
Yes, sir.
We got this Ocasio-Cortez or whatever it is in one's locker because people like me get up and go to work every day. So that's the problem. I'm about ready to just start staying home and get on some of these programs that all these other folks are on so I can go fishing and deer hunting.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem. Well, first of all, you don't really mean that, but you really do. But I mean, when I say you don't mean it, you're not going to get on welfare and all that. You're going to work to the day you die if you have to, just like me. But my point, your point's well taken with me. You're watching what these people are saying, and everything they want to do has been tried, and everything they want to do has failed. They fail society. They fail communities. They fail local cities. They fail the state government. They fail this is a recipe for destroying your country. But let me tell you something. When they get finished beating up Trump, the American people may put a fool like this in that will bring the country down to his knees. We put Obama in. He really brought this country to his knees. He really did. But you can't see it if you're blind. And most of these people politically are just blind. They can't see it.
Well, the point I was really trying to make was the reason why these idiots are able to get up there and spout all this crap is because people like me have gotten up and still do every day and go to work.
Yep.
And
you vote, and you probably vote.
Yep. All right, Moon, that was it.
All right, my brother. Take care, Paul. 844-766-6607, Hickson has a hotline. Well, the media is trying to create a country that was never designed to be. It was never designed to be a socialist third world country. If you keep buying into it with the debt and things that's happening, and what happened to free press? The free press was never supposed to take sides. Why have they? And it's the wrong side. That's what really ought to bother you. We'll take a break. Be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, hello. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. Headlines. Baton Rouge. Louisiana governor election heats up. We have a race. Oh, it's going to heat up, folks. They don't have a clue. It's amazing the misinformation and how people are reading stuff on this governor's race. Bell Evans is a one-termer. He can't run on anything. When he says it's Louisiana better off than the last 3 years than they were, he's talking about state government. They are better off. I'm going to be the first to tell you. You bring in $7 billion in new taxes. Then you start bragging that you have surpluses, but you give the economy credit for it. Because the GDP has finally spiked up here. Doesn't mean it's going to stay there. After 2 years of being negative. Nothing. He can't run on anything. Now listen, let me give you some numbers. And I got a lot of stuff. We're going to get to the race. Let me give you some numbers. They're running on, I read it again today, that they're running on cutting $600 million out the budget. That's right. That's what they're running on. They're saying we cut $600 million out the budget. Jim Inkster, who's a friend of mine, called his field so far a AAA field against Edwards. Hey, Brandon, you remember when Barack Insane Obama called ISIS the JV team?
I remember.
How did that work out for him?
Yeah.
So, Jim, go ahead and call it the AAA team. It doesn't take a AAA team. It doesn't. If you got a AAA player, I'll take a AAA player over a rookie league player any day of the week, Jim. And Bell Edwards is a rookie. Now, let me give you some numbers so you have it straight. We got a guy out there claiming he cut $600 million out the budget. Okay? From Bobby Jindal's last year to the budget for 18-19, which is the one we're in now. Okay, now remember, they're claiming they cut $600 million out the budget. The budget has grown by $6.8 billion. And I keep telling you, we have almost $7 billion in tax increases. $6.8 billion. And by the way, that's the numbers coming straight from the government. $6.8 billion, but he said, it's okay, Brandon. They got $6.8 billion more, and you claim you cut $600 million out. How does that work? Number two, the total state effort is up 3% a year. Okay? It's up $1.7 billion. Just giving you numbers, that's true numbers. General up $793 million, up 5% a year, 4% year two. Year three, almost a standstill because why? The House Republicans stopped them in their tracks saying, no, we're not spending any more money. Remember, Bill Edwards wanted an income tax increase. He wanted a sales tax increase. And he sales taxes on the poor and the middle class. That's who's paying for him. His own voters don't even know that he raised taxes on them. Of course, Jim Beam to the rescue. Well, the governor doesn't raise taxes, the legislature. And I've tried to tell Republicans, when you act like a Democrat, they're going to use it against you. Beam doesn't get hardly nothing right, but he is right when he says Republicans voted for these taxes. And some of them did. Not as many as he claims, but some of them did. You remember in the House where they got to have 70 votes? They got 41 Democrats to start off with, and they pick up Republicans. So Republicans make Republicans look like fools. They just make them look like a fool. So there's the numbers right there. $6.8 billion more to spend than Bobby Jindal's last year. We keep hearing there was a $2 billion deficit, and I'm telling y'all, and I'm telling Ralph Abraham and Mr. Rasponi, you make him produce those numbers because they are not producible. There was no $2 billion deficit. There never was. And the $6.5–7 billion in new taxes is all provable. That's no problem at all for you. Come up with the addition, and you add all the taxes that were put on us. And Bill Edwards led the charge, and he wanted an income tax, and he wants a road tax, and he wants a tax on everything. So we got a race. Now listen, there's a few people, well, who is Abraham? You know, times have changed. Buddy Roemer ran in 1988. And Buddy Roemer, nobody knew Roemer except in the congressional district. And Buddy Roemer won the election. In 1988, the social media, talk radio, and all that stuff was not humming. It is now. It is so much easier to get name recognition than it was going back 30 years ago. So when they say, and there are examples all over. Let me give you a couple of them. Number one, let's go to Jim Inkster. Ralph Abraham is a viable candidate. Eddie Rispone could be. Okay? Then he says that Abraham's coming out the north. He doesn't have the base. Folks, he'll have the base, and Rispone will too, and anybody else that adds once the election gets around. That's not going to be a problem. People knowing who these people are, trust me, it's not going to have it. They're going to have plenty of time to let people know who they are. We're going to give them as much exposure as they can. I wish the governor would come on. We asked them for 3 years. They hadn't stuck their face in here one time. Not going to, probably. Wish he would. He come sit here, right here by me. I'm ready to talk to him about a lot of things he's taking credit for, like the economy. We still have one of the worst economies in the country. And thank God that Abraham shot back when he talked about the economy and basically said what he needed to say. The Bush economy and the tax breaks we would have gotten, Edwards and the legislature stole them from us. I mean, they stole $350 million of cuts. Okay, here it is right here. But with roughly 2/3 of the state population living south of Alexandria, political analysis, Jim Inkster said name recognition could be a problem. Come on, Jim. Why do you want to make a dumb comment like that when it's not going to be a problem? Because we live in a different time. And of course, he mentions Edwards, Treen, Buddy Roemer, and Bobby Jindal because they all came from the House. But he's not well known by the electorate generally. He's got to change that in the next 10 months. 10 months is a long time. Social media and things of that nature. As you get to know Ralph Abraham, because I do know him, you're going to like him. And you're going to probably like Rispone too. I just don't believe people are going to walk up and say, okay, I'm pulling Republican lieutenant governor, Republican in the Secretary of State, the Republican treasurer. They're going to pull all these Republicans, and then they're going to go to the Democrat and say, well, I'm going to vote for the Democrat for governor. I don't believe that's going to happen. I really don't believe that's going to happen. And then, of course, Edwards is still shooting at he was at the Thursday at the Alexandria Chamber of Commerce, and what does he do? Takes a shot at Ralph Abraham. My question is, why take a shot at Abraham? You've had such great success. You've led our state to prosperity. Just go on and run. Tell everybody what you did. Because he can't brag on what he did. They continue to brag about taking a $2 billion deficit that was never there. It was never there. It was never there. Of course, Abraham took a shot back. This is what I love. The governor took a shot saying that you have to address those questions why you seek reelection, get reelected, and now you're running for something else. Abraham shoots back, Brandon. This is what you're like. That's a good question for the governor. He ran 273 days while he was in the state house. So you know that's a question I would throw back to him. I love it because it's true. Did he do his job in the state house? He was running for governor. Expansion of Medicaid ought to destroy Edwards. Edwards says we have turned a historic deficit into surplus. By the way, a $1.4 billion deficit is not historic. We've been through that before. We have. All just made up crap to say. We're funding higher education again. You know, that's amazing, Brandon. They funded higher education. And right after the session, before school started, they jacked fees up at the universities about $500 or $600 for the year. But if you funded it, why did you have to jack the fees up, Mr. Edwards? He said the GDP and the economy in this is bigger than it's ever been right now. What did you do to make it big, Mr. Edwards? Nothing. And, of course, Abraham came back with that, with the true story, by saying that, yes, Louisiana's doing a little better. It could be doing much better, but if Congress didn't act on the Jobs Act and tax cut bills, it wasn't. And he's correct. Once again, I love this when they get overconfident. They've already poured Gatorade on the head of Bell Edwards. Ask Coach O if that's what you ought to do before the game's over. And then you got Jim Inkster calling it a AAA field. Well, Jim, I take a AAA player over a single A player any day, Jim. Any day. Any day. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. Representative Jim Morris will join us, talk about what's going on with the state. We'll take a break and be right back. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, I made a mistake. I said Jay Morris was joining us. And I don't know why I said that because Jim Morris was joining us. I don't know why I said that. I don't think I've ever met Jim. But it's Jay Morris, one representative out of the Monroe area, is joining us. And anyway, Jay, how you doing, bud?
I'm good, Moon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I threw out the wrong name. I apologize for that. I'm good at doing that anyway, so that don't mean nothing.
we joke about being, Jim and I joke about being long-lost brothers, but anyway, good man over there in Caddo Parish.
Yeah, I know of him, but I don't think I've ever met him. If I did, I just don't remember meeting him. So anyway, I appreciate you spending a little time with us today. First of all, just your comments on Mr. Abraham getting into the governor's race.
Yes, look, I'm excited. I know Ralph, or Doc, as he's known by a lot of people around here. We're both Richland Parish natives, and he's from the Alto Mangum area, went to Mangum High School. I'm from the metropolis of Rayville.
I know all that's
down the road. So I'm excited about Ralph. I've already endorsed his candidacy, and he's a fine person and a brilliant guy, and I think he'll make a great governor. Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to let people know, and I've been telling our people because I think we and of course Mr. Risponi, I do not know, and I hope he's a great candidate as well. I think 2 or 3 or 4 in there in the race is really good. It's a different time than it was 30 years ago when Roma won. And you know this from talk radio and social media. I've seen Jim Inkster, and I got a comment from Lanny Keller. Well, he's not well known. He's not well known. Well, let me just tell you something. In the day of Facebook, in the day of talk radio, in the day of radio in general, Twitter and all that stuff, you can be known really, really quick. And that blows my mind that people, they're living back in the 70s and 80s when it was hard. You had to pay for a lot of that. It's not like that right now.
Well, I mean, you have to remember, I know some people that were close to the Mike Foster campaign, and the criticism of Mike is he was not well known. And
he was at 2% July before he won. Listen, they're nervous. Let's just be blunt. The people in the media who helped Bill Edwards, they're so nervous now, and I'm telling people they're the ones nervous because of the stories they're already writing about.
The media has always trended left, and I don't see the national media. I don't see how they can get any further left. It's like astounding. They keep inventing things to go leftward. This is how the world is turned upside down. Alan Dershowitz is now hated by the left, who, he was a well-known lawyer when I was in law school and well-known for being a civil liberties and left-leaning, legal scholar, which he still is. His views haven't changed, but the world has changed around him, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Jay Morris, Representative Jay Morris, my special guest. Jay, I was going over something the other day, and I thought about you because I knew you had fought some of this stuff, or at least talked about it. There's a group called Together Louisiana. And I saw that little proposal, and somebody said, boy, you ought to see this is really good. Why Louisiana stays poor, something along that line. And I don't know if you had a chance to see it, but I kind of got a kick out of it, too.
I commented on it on Facebook and Twitter, and, because I'd gotten some people saying you need to look at this and that kind of thing. The video they put out is pretty slickly produced.
Sure.
But it was misleading, and so I felt, because I had constituents calling me about it, saying, look, I got to set the records a little straight on some of this.
Yeah.
But the bottom line was they implied that the state is poor because we don't tax enough.
Yep.
Particularly the industrial companies on the ITAP. It was all aimed at the ITAP and getting more money in the system. And like I said in my comments, the ITAP does need reforming, and it can be too generous, much more generous than Texas at times. But, just to say we're going to eliminate it and have the handful of parishes that have all the big users of the industrial tax exemption, for them to all that money to pile into those parishes for them to use and abuse is a terrible idea.
Yeah. By the way, and that's what I was going to tell you. I went and looked at it because everybody said you ought to see this, and after reading it, I said, well, first of all, I'm not impressed with Together Louisiana. Number two, the argument that our state would be better if we can only take a lot more money from businesses and put it in government. So to me, the big picture was, look at all the money that could go into government to make everything better if we could just make these companies pay. And I just thought, wow, they want to grow government every chance they get. And that's the way I took it. You tell me if I was wrong, because when I read that, looked at that, I thought,
just a stupendous money grab.
Yep.
And I feel like that there are definitely some well-meaning people in Together Louisiana, but I just think that they're misdirected, and that more government is not the answer.
But didn't you read it like I did?
And even if they were successful in somehow reforming the ITAP, or God forbid eliminating it, all the money would flow into just a handful of parishes that already have a fairly decent tax base.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, I agree with you. It's not perfect. Number two, if we had a really friendly business climate in this state, I don't think we would have to give an incentive to anybody. I really don't. I think you can make it to where businesses here can prosper. Other businesses will come in. It will create plenty of tax base. But the problem, let's just be blunt. Our government, from the federal down to local, for the most part, I'm not going to say everyone, they have a tendency to want to spend and spend and spend, so they have to have more and more and more. And how do you help businesses by taking more money? And they were talking about all the money that these businesses would give us. We would make everything would be top notch. And I'm just kind of laughed at that because once they got that and spend that, they would need even more.
Right. Well, and first of all, none of that money would go to state government. It would all go to local government.
Correct.
The ITEP only applies to local property taxes. We don't have any state property taxes, and these petrochemical plants, in order to incentivize them and keep them in a place where they're highly productive. It's so expensive, Even in that video that Together Louisiana, they mentioned the new Freedom Tower in New York that was $3 billion, and we had one petrochemical complex spend $10 billion or $11 billion in capital expenditure, and making them pay 100% taxes on all that capital equipment would, first of all, just send gobs of money into a handful of parishes. For example, probably Vermilion, Calcasieu, of course, East Baton Rouge, Ascension Parish, which is way more money than they would need to operate their school systems and the like. And then there would be all kinds of litigation that came out of it. Like in Texas, they've had their state Supreme Court has heard their litigation 6 times over the past 25, 30 years, and several times held unconstitutional. And they redistribute the money to the poorer areas, and it's been a fall-to-all. And the bottom line is, and I looked at these figures this morning to verify, we're actually 28th in the state in terms of spending on K through 12 education per pupil. We spend more per pupil than Texas does on K through 12 education. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we spend it in the right places, but there's enough money, and that was the Together Louisiana's primary focus, was trying to convince us we need that money for education, when in fact, even if we got part of it, it'd just go to a handful of parishes. It wouldn't go to the rural areas that don't have any big industrial plants.
Representative Jay Morris, my special guest. Yeah, but I saw it, and I just let people know that I'm not impressed with Together Louisiana. Don't mean they don't have good people in there, but I don't think their priorities are straight. One of the things, Jay, that bothers me and about this governor and really all the governors, that nobody ever focuses on the business side of the state of Louisiana. I think that's why we struggle so bad. Everything is focused on the government side. When the governor says, are you better off 3 years ago than you are today? Well, personally, no. But if you look at it from state government, yeah, they got a lot more money, a lot more taxes coming in now.
Right. Well, there's all different types of businesses in the state, and remember, the bigger government gets, a lot of times the bigger certain businesses get. So a lot of the lobbyists down there in Baton Rouge are fighting over our tax money.
Yep.
And so, being in their mind, being pro-business is taxing more because it eases the pressure on all the money that gets handed out to businesses all over the state, small and large. So I'm like you, Moon. I'm inclined to let business be business, minimize the government, and let people have more of their money, and pay for what we need to pay for when it comes to government.
Let me take a break.
Education's one of them, I'll admit it, but when you try to dig into the weeds on
Well, Jay, hold your thought. And we're going to come right back. Got some more questions. We'll take another segment. Representative Jay Morris, my special guest. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, folks. More to come. Hi, y'all. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has that hotline. Mr. Representative Jay Morris, my special guest. He's a representative out of the Monroe area. You know, Jay, that was together, L.A. and all that stuff. It is what it is. Got some numbers in today. Budget from Jindal to 1819, which is a budget we in now, up $6.8 billion. Up almost $2 billion just in state money, a little less, 1.8 billion. The governor's out there bragging that he cut $600 million out of the budget. I was hoping you could explain the $600 million cut. If you grow $6.8 billion, how can you claim you cut $600 million out of the budget?
I haven't seen the governor's latest claim about cutting.
I can read it to you, man. It's all over the place.
The extent to which he cut it was only because we didn't give him as much taxes as he wanted.
Thank you. That
we do have to have a balanced budget in the state, although the Jindal administration sometimes played some ridiculous accounting tricks. You know, I mean, if we passed all the items that Governor Edwards wanted us to pass the first year of his governorship, I mean, we would be one of the higher tax states in the South by now. Fortunately, most of those things didn't pass.
Yeah. What about the big renewal of the road tax? According to what we're reading, President Trump and Pelosi may cut a deal for a pretty hefty increase in the federal gas tax to help pay for $1 trillion in roads and bridges and infrastructure stuff. The word is the reason you're reading about the legislature and some of these people out there pushing the gas tax this session that's coming up in the spring is because they want to get their money before the federal government puts their money on top of it. I mean, the gas tax can be paid for mostly by middle, hardworking people and poor people. It's not that rich don't pay, they do, but you got a lot more of us than they do them. So my question is, if the federal government adds about 23 cents, they want 17 cents, that's a 40-cent increase. That's a lot of darn money for a gas tax. Right.
And you know, I'm always going to be skeptical of higher taxes. And I'm not suggesting we don't have some infrastructure needs in this state. But a lot of the people, what I don't want to happen is that some sort of gas tax gets approved, and then the money gets spent on, you know, just helping like a handful of companies dredge a canal they want, or, you know, for boating or you know, shipping or something like that. I don't think our people driving 30 minutes to a plant to go to work, or moms taking their kids back and forth to school should have to pay for infrastructure that a tiny group of people want, you know, and this coalition that's put together, you know, they would benefit greatly by it.
Sure.
I can't believe it's because they want people in the Monroe area to be able to, you know, get to school or work better. That they want it for the business interests, either because they're a contractor or because they want some infrastructure for them to accommodate delivery of their products.
Yeah. Well, I'm worried about them passing a gas tax. You know, when I see $14 billion backlog, once again, their numbers, not mine. What bothers me is that somebody would wait that long to figure out we need more money, and that tells you that when we were getting money in, we've had surpluses for years in this government. And we never took the money and put it in the right place. I mean, we got unfunded accrued liability that nobody's concerned about, all its retirement systems. They're devastated right now. They're not even worried about that. They could care. They know that as long as everything doesn't blow up, they won't have to worry about that. But that's the kind of stuff we're not working on.
Yeah, and there are some people that are working on it, and some of our UALs will go down as the new retirement laws go into effect, but it's still a significant number. And, you know, but when it comes to bureaucracies, that they have a way of exaggerating their needs at times, and the press picks up on it. When we do cut things, they do so in a way that makes it very painful, and the media can pick up on it. and try to thereby put pressure on the legislature, and you know, they don't do it for no reason. They do it because a lot of times it works.
Yeah.
You know, and they end up getting what they want sometimes. But the $14 billion backlog and infrastructure in our state, I don't know whether that's accurate or not, whether that's true or not. Nobody in our area, but I think that might be a little more than we actually need.
Nobody questions the $14 billion. It was 12, 13, now 14. They're throwing out a number, and the press is running with it. Representative Jay Morris, we'll do it again. Jay, thanks here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Moon. Anytime.
All right, we'll do it again. Thank you, bud. All right, quick break. Be right back. Hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it. Hotline if you'd like to be part of the program. All right, folks. If you didn't hear, we do have a governor's race. We're going to have a governor's race. I'm shocked Eddie Rispone and them hadn't been out there more, meeting people, talking to people, getting on talk radio, whatever. I really am at this point. I just figured they would be out there doing something. I know he's got money. You can introduce yourself, but you got to really go talk to people. The bottom line is you're going to have to eventually, and I don't know if they're working with him or planning things with him, but I love to see Mr. Rispone out there.
Now, I thought I heard he was at the championships, at the state championships.
Wait a minute, he may have. I have no idea.
As a matter of fact, I'm pulling this up.
He may have, but like I said, but I wouldn't have known that anyway. Like I said, I've never been there.
Well, but for the people in the dome that were there, I mean, I know he's got to expand a lot more.
And he may have, and knowing me is nothing. You don't have to know me.
They said Eddie Rispone here giving awards to STM at the Superdome.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And if he did, I didn't hear that because I can't hear.
You mean you didn't come across him when you were down on the field?
No, never came across him.
Man.
He may have walked right by me.
I know.
I wouldn't have known him if I'd
might
seen
have
him.
walked by the next governor.
I may have. But I just get a kick, and I'm telling people, be patient, go enjoy your Christmas. This thing's going to get very interesting next year. The people nervous is John Bel Edwards and the media who think they're going to direct people to go vote for him again. And I'm telling you right now, they're not going to vote for all these Republicans, turn around and vote for a Democrat. It's all coming. Let me just trust me on this. They are scared to death now. They were scared to death when Kennedy was running. That's why Gumbo Pack started negative advertisement the weekend before Kennedy announced he wouldn't even run it. So Kennedy's out the way. Good. John, go be a United States Senator. I have no problem with that. But these other two candidates, and maybe some more to come, you remember Scott Angel didn't jump in a race to the summer before the election. You do realize that, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't jump in the election the year before. Why does somebody have to jump in a race a year before? They don't.
And people wouldn't know it, but Scott Angel made his announcement for governor right here.
Right on the program. Scott Angel did that, and Scott ended up with almost 19% of the vote. So, and he announced in the summer. So all this stuff that you read in the media, and I was a little shocked at Jim Inkster, but not totally. When Jim Inkster said at this point Edwards has a field of Republicans that considered a AAA field rather than a major league field. And he has the Democratic side to himself. I love when they underestimate opponents. Inkster's doing the same thing. Lanny Keller, Ralph Abraham's North Louisiana base, not that solid Republican. Why would you write a story like that? You write a story like that because you want people to believe the whole concept. Somebody from North Louisiana can't win. All that's a bunch of bunk. He's a human being. Look, I'm from South Louisiana. I lived in North Louisiana. Now I'm back in South Louisiana. It had nothing to do with anything. Social media, all that stuff changes everything. Talk radio, it changes everything, and they know it, but they can't show it. They know it, but they can't show it. Damn, next thing you know, I'll be a poet. So what do? This is the kind of stuff we're going to get. Edwards is already belittling Abraham. Okay? But I'm glad Abraham's already shot back, too. I think that's great. You need to shoot back. Lanny Keller. Ralph, this is Baton Rouge. Lanny, don't ever tell the truth, Keller. Ralph Abraham's North Louisiana base, not that solid Republican. Guess what, Lanny? You're nervous. You're nervous. Why are you nervous? You know? He starts off for decades, candidates from North Louisiana dominated in races for the governor's mansion. But since Edwin Edwards broke the string, and with the single exception of Buddy Romer and a splendid field in 87, the candidate North Interstate 12 line has not been successful. Yeah, no social media, no talk radio. Alas, for the congressman from a rural alto in the heart of the farm timber country, demographics aren't that friendly for a statewide race. What do you mean? He's a Republican candidate. He runs as a conservative. Lanny doesn't have a clue because he didn't want to have a clue. I mean, this is ignorance on top of ignorance when it comes to these people. And there's Lanny Keller. Demographics are not that friendly for a statewide race. What are you talking about? Got so many Republicans, so many Democrats. It's a different time, Lanny. People are not picking up your paper going, look what Lanny said. Oh, my God, we better believe him. They're not, Lanny. Most people aren't even buying your newspaper anymore. People like me read it. People don't even know who you are. And in Baton Rouge, they laugh at this guy. But I wanted you to keep laughing at him. That's why I brought him up. While Abraham is popular in a sprawling U.S. House district, almost 35% of his constituents are black Democrats, not Republicans. The fact is that with rare exceptions, they will not be backing the homeboy in general election against Democratic Governor John Bel Edwards. Well, we're going to see, aren't we, Lanny? Of course, Abraham can more than make up the difference if he strikes a chord with Republican whites elsewhere. So speaking of the race in regional terms may be misleading, you think? No clue. Lanny Keller has no clue. He never leaves little bitty Baton Rouge. He stays in there with him and Stephanie Grace, and they run around town and they talk, and that's all. They don't. But let me tell you something. I do go around the state. I do go travel. And there's not a place that Abraham and Risponi can't win with the exception of very few places. Look at what Kyle Ondwin won. He kicked butt. He's a Republican. And that's what's going to happen in an election if people would just be patient. Put your money where your mouth is. Figure out what Republican you're going to vote for. You're going to hear Jim Beam talk about, well, if you want another Bobby Jindal. No, there was only one Bobby Jindal. And Bel Edwards supported him 6 of his 8 budgets. John Alario, that great leader that we can't get away from for 48 years, 8 of 8 Bobby Jindal's budget. The fee, Francis Thompson. Francis Thompson never seen a rear end he couldn't kiss in the governor's office. Boop. He voted for every budget. Why? Because that's who the fee is. He doesn't care if you're Republican, Democrat, black, white, green, or yellow, conservative, liberal. He's going to kiss you on the rear end to get something for his area. That's who he is. So here's Lanny Keller, where most of the people in this area are not voting for him. Why does Lanny Keller have to bring up 35% of his constituents are black Democrats? Let me tell you something about the congressional district. Abraham will get somewhere between 12 and 15% of the black vote in this area because he's went out there and helped everybody, not just whites. He's helped black people in that district. Lanny Keller is taken for granted, the same thing I've already said. Well, 35% black, they're not voting for him. Well, why do you know that, Lanny? Are you saying that the Democrat Party owns them like a plantation? Why would you make a comment about race like that, Lanny Keller? Why would you do that? 35% of his constituents are black Democrats, not Republicans. So what? The man got 70-something% of the votes. I'll go back and look. But if they can find a way to find out how many black percentage voted for Mr. Abraham in his district, it may prove the point that I'm trying to make. I know Abraham enough to know in these rural communities, you see a lot of whites help blacks and a lot of blacks help whites. This is not the city, Lanny. This is a rural area. They have to depend on each other. And color's not a problem. It's not a problem. Race doesn't matter to those people in the rural areas. They really don't. So you might be wrong again, Mr. Keller, for even making a comment like that. But there's Lanny already putting race. Lanny, how do you know black Democrats aren't going to vote for Republicans? I'm just asking. How do you know that? All right, we got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Going to be a great governor's race, folks. And we'll have a new governor starting next year. We'll take a break. I'm sticking with my guns because I believe in all my heart. I feel what's going to happen. If everybody be patient, they're going to get excited by next fall. We'll take a break. Be right back.